Hello and welcome to the channel. So I've got a couple of bits that I've got here, and I bought these from a shop in Lincoln when I was out, and I didn't have my cameras with me, but I'm actually going to go back there and do a video for the channel. This shop is amazing. It's just got so much stuff in there. If you're into radios, ham radios especially, there's absolutely tons of stuff. There's so much stuff in there, you could spend half a day there just looking around. But I only had a chance to be in there for 15-20 minutes, so I bought two items out of there, and this is one of them. This is a Baird, it's a series filament radio. If we just turn this round and have a look at the back, just put another light on. It's an M232, model 232. This I think is from the late 50s, I think, or early 60s. Not 100% sure. I need to do a bit more, just a little bit more research on it. Property of radio rentals. Just zoom in on that a bit so we have a look. So you can see their property of radio rentals. So this has been a rental set at some time or other in its, well, most of its life. Quite how it came to be sat in a shop, I don't know. But yeah, it's obviously sat there for some years. Now I have been on Radio Museum and I have done a bit of research on this amp, and you can see that is the power plug that goes into it. So we're going to have to be a bit careful as to which way round we get that, because this is series filament, remember, so we have to be careful. Fortunately it's not a guitar amplifier, as the series filament amplifiers in the States are referred to as widow makers, which these days could be seen as politically incorrect. But we don't bother with any of that, do we? So we're going to get the back off of this and we're going to have a look inside, and I'm going to try and power this up and see if it works. It was cheap. I didn't pay a lot of money for it, so it's a bit of a gamble, but I think this will work. It's not you know, it's not like I'm going to go in there and find the power transformer blown, because there isn't one. So as long as the output transformer's working, and to be fair, I've got plenty of output transformers I can put on that. I've got quite a few off old radios and things that I've collected over the last 2 or 3 years. Right, I've wired this set up, albeit temporarily, but enough to get us a way to get this running. So this set is long wave, medium wave and VHF. So let's see what we can get on this. I've got it on the Variac, or it will be on the Variac in a minute when I plug it in. We're just going to run this up steadily and see if it works. Let's make sure it's switched on, shall we? Right, let's give it a blast. So I've got 70 volts on the Variac at the moment. Yeah, we've got voltage there. Yep. So we have got some voltage going onto that cap. So I can see the bulbs glowing, the pilot light bulbs. So this radio is on radiomuseum.org. It's and there is the schematics with it as well, which is very good. That really is a great website, radiomuseum.org. I have a fascination for these old radios, and I have since I was a child. And yet I don't listen to the radio very often, but I just love them and fascinated by them. And and I know this is not a guitar amp, and we're certainly not going to be converting it into one, but it just makes a change every now and again to get something a bit different on the channel. I think I can hear sound. Yep. got 184 volts on the variac. I've got that up to 200 volts now. That's a bit noisy. Don't sound like it's a capacitor though. I think that might be a valve. The tone control works. Trying to see what we're actually on there. I think that's gram. Sorry, just moving that around. That's on gram, and we should have yeah, so that's working. And notice I'm using the probe to do that and not just my finger, because this again is serious filament. Be very careful. So that's working. So that's gram. What else we got on here? That's FM, medium wave. That's long wave. So the one that's making all the noise is long wave, medium wave. Now we've also got this antenna, and there's a lever in the back here that you can actually move this antenna around. Oops, it's pushing out the output tube. It obviously doesn't move around that. I'm not quite sure how that works then. Let's put that back in there. So I think here, if we look here, you can see this. Sorry, the camera. You can see this. This looks like the VHF aerial connections by the look of it. Not 100% sure, but I'm thinking it might be. Let's try something. Let's put it on. So VHF is brown bread. There's nothing on that. Or is that? Hang on a minute. No. Let's try again. So the amplifier part works okay. Obviously all the filaments work, otherwise this wouldn't be running. The question is, well, there's a start. Right, let's turn off. It's got that lovely odour coming out of it, and I'm afraid unless you've worked on these or really old equipment, you probably won't understand that. Just cleaning up the pins on this tube, and basically I'm just doing this just to see if I can get this running or not. Maybe not, I don't know, but obviously I'm going to restore this. And what I usually do with these radios is I'll restore all the components, get them running, and then I'll actually pay someone to align it for me, because they'll do it a lot quicker and make a much better job than I will. Right, let's see now we've cleaned that tube. Better. Oh, we've got something.
I was emphasising the point, the size of the support, the interest there is up there. If there was a stadium in Glasgow for 100,000 people, and Man United or Liverpool came to town, there'd be 100,000 people in that stadium.
I think
for both clubs, and it was locked out.
That's medium wave.
Sure, you've seen it up there, Stanley.
So we've got something on medium wave, or AM I think, we're in the States. And we only usually get one station, and that's Radio 5 Live, which is obviously what that is, as they're talking about football.
But they paid to come down here. They paid 100 million quid. Because it would massively inflate the value of those two football clubs anyway. And create an opportunity, but I wouldn't want it for Scottish football, because I think it leaves it desolate. It leaves it without the two biggest clubs, and they're struggling enough as it is.
For sure. Well, we all look forward to that. I certainly will. The YouTube
Not very loud though.
tuning in straight after this. He lied, or he promised. Manchester United beat West Ham by 3-0. Are we entering a new era with Manchester United youngsters like Garnacho, Mainu, and Hoyland? Ten Hag spoke about this.
So that's FM. We're not getting anything on FM. So that lovely waft of burning dust, which you can't smell that I can, is coming from that large resistor there. On there, that big green resistor you can see in there. And what that's doing is, because in the UK we have 250 volts as opposed to where you only have 110 in the States, that is taking up the rest of the filament voltage. And I did add up how much these tubes add up to. I think it's something like 146-47 volts on the filaments. So the other 90 odd is being absorbed by that resistor there. Got selenium rectifier in it, which you probably can't see, but if I just get a pointer, in fact let's see if we can get a torch, get some light. So we get some light in here now. We can see we've got, that's the selenium rectifier there, the square thing with the screw in the middle. Got there, that's the resistor for which helps take up. He's a bit loose here, so we'll have to look at him. Main electrolytic, output tube there, that's the EL8, that's a UL84, not the same as an EL84 with a different filament voltage, so you don't get mixed up with that one. Same dissipation though, 12 watts. So this section up here of the radio, this is the VHF, all this is the VHF part, the FM. So you can see nice elliptical speaker up there. Doesn't look up to much, but and there's, I can see a bit of a hole in the cone there. So yeah, so no VHF. So the first thing is, I think, is we need to check all the valves, tubes in it, and see if they're any good. Right, so this is my little tube tester, and not as good as the bigger ones that you get nowadays, but this one just gives me an idea basically on emissions more than anything, and obviously if there's any shorts on the tube, and that's about it really. What model is this? This is a, I do believe, and I have the book here for it, this is a Mercury model 1990. So simple thing, but ideal just to have, you know, bench side. So let's have a look at, so I've got the UCC 85 in there at the moment that I've just put in. So if we look on here, you can see we've got, this book just tells us what to set it on. So we've got, it's the usual X, Y and Z test and what's open there. So if we look on here, I've got open, test, normal on there. You can see, we just go in, you can see that. And then we've got X, Y and Z on those controls. There's the short and there's the light that tells us if there's any leakage on the tube. So we need to set for UCC 85, so X needs to be on 5, Y needs to be on G, and a Z needs to be on 1, which it is. So 5G1, and test is 3 and 8, and bear in mind you can see we've got 2 because one's for each triode, so the only thing that differs is the test. Open is nothing, so nothing needs to be set in open, so it's 3 and 8 for this one. So we'll turn it on. It's 110 volts by the way, this, obviously I've got a power supply for it, and although I did actually buy this in this country, I didn't buy it from the States. So 3, not showing any shorts. Now this has been a rental set, so you know, I'm expecting this to have long hours on it, so it wouldn't surprise me if these tubes are done for. Wouldn't surprise me at all. We don't seem to be getting anything on it, though it does always work better when one switches on the power supply for it. Well, that looks in good order. Look at that. That looks like a brand new tube, the way that's gone across there. So that one seems okay. Look at that, 100%. Nearly 90 odd percent, close to 100. Now, there is a tube at the back of there. I'm just going to whittle it out. And that one is UF80. So let's just need to check on here for the settings for it. UF80 is 5G1 and 3 is open, so we need to set 3 to open, and 1 is test, so we can actually, right, so I've got the UF80 in there now, so let's have a look how this one fares. Got it all set to where it needs to be, so we'll switch on. Oh dear. Well, that one is about as much use as an ashtray on a motorbike. So I think from that we can deduct that that's why the VHF doesn't work. The FM, that's why the FM's not working. So we need a UF80. Let's try the UF89. So this one, 5F1, test is 3. Right, let's put the tube in. Well, that one looks okay. That's very good. Right, what's this one? This is the one I cleaned the pins on. This is UABC80. UABC80. So according to this, that is a triode triple diode. Diode triple diode. That is. 4G1. No, 5G1. 5G1. So we're on there, that's okay. So 5G1, and this valve looks like it is a triode triple diode. The reason I can tell that is that if you look at where it says UABC80 and then there's a black dot, those 3 black dots indicate diodes. So 3 diodes, and obviously C is in there, so that indicates triode. So 5G1 and test is 1, so that's for the triode. So let's test the triode. He's okay. He's okay. He's not brilliant though, is he? 65 on there, so he's okay. But it should work okay with that in. What we've got to try is, actually, no, I got that wrong. My eyes writing is so small on here. That's actually 8, not 1. 8. Not that it made any difference. It's still the same. So test is 8, and that valve is good enough. It's not brilliant, but it's good enough. And then for the diodes, for the first of the diodes, oh dear, G1 6, yeah, that's 6. We can see that diode's bad. So the diode part is the bottom, the green part there. Diode's okay, it says. So we can see, so that tube's not very good. Let's try the next diode. That is 1, and that's good. And the other one is 3, which is marginal but good. So that's not a brilliant tube, is it? And has problems, so we need one of those as well. So we need a UABC80. So he's not great because one of the diodes is toast on there. Right, let's try this UL84 that we've got here. So we can see him there, yellow print mullard. He's probably been changed at some time. Just having a look on there, and that's from the Blackburn factory. And I think that's a 50s one, so that may be the original one. So now we need to look in the book again. UL84, which is there. You can see that's 5H1. In fact, the actual testing of that is identical to on this meter, on this tester, exactly the same as an EL84, the setting, but not obviously different filament settings on there. So I know we need 1, 6 and 8 open there, because if we look, UL84 open 1, 6 and 8. Test is 3, and the filaments are 5. Yes, 5H1. So let's pop him in and see what he gives us. I'm thinking that's going to be pretty good because we got plenty of volume out of the radio. Test is 3. Now you can see it warming up. I have got 2 or 3 of these, so assuming this tube had been bad, we'd have been fine, but that's okay. I mean, that's not, I've seen them go more than that, the Mullards up to nearly 100, but that's plenty, that's fine. New problem with him, so he's good. So the last tube is this one hiding at the back here, and that is UCH 81. So we need to look in the book again. (5G1). You can see that there, UCH 81. 5G1, 5G1. This bit the same there, and the test is 9 and 2. 5G1 and there. CH5G1, test is 9 and 2. So let's try 9 first. Oh dear. Well, it's crawling up. So the radio probably just about works with that in, but only just about. Let's try 2. Oh, that side's good. And that is, as it's warming up now, you can see that's going into green. So that tube's marginal, but enough to get the radio running. Yep, and it's crawling up there. So we really need 3 tubes to make this thing spot on. We need a UABC 80, and we need a UF 80, and we could probably do with one of those as well. I don't have any of these tubes in stock, you know. I've got hundreds and hundreds of tubes, but I've got none of these. Got the UL 84, but that's good anyway, so that's not a problem. Just test that again now, see if it's working its way up. And it is, go up to 60 there. So I think that we'd probably get away with that. Right, we've got the this radio out of its case, so we can have a bit of a look inside, and you can see it's looking a bit gooey inside. So we've got a very gooey capacitor here, and all these Hunts capacitors, they'll be no good. Looks like it's had a bit of a blowout there at some time, I don't know. This side doesn't, the bottom doesn't look too bad, the bottom part, as we're looking here, but this area looks very so there's a bit of work to be done there. So where does that cap go? That goes to the L84, yes. I'm just looking at the pins on there now. 1, 2 and 3. That is the cathode. Lines up that pointer again. So pins 1, 2, 3. That is the cathode of the UL84, and that's the cathode resistor, and that is the bypass capacitor. That's obviously been changed because that's a Dali, and there's another one there that's been changed. And this one looks like it may be something to do. Is that for the screen on there? So let's just count that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 anode. So that's on the anode, that very disgusting looking resistor. I think it's a resistor. No, it's a capacitor, sorry. That disgusting looking capacitor. Ugh. We need to get the schematic and have a look what that is. Yep, and that's the screen there, that wire there. So the grid is this resistor here, which is obviously a grid stopper. Right, I'm going to switch this on, and I've just heard the cat flap go, and you know what, then there we go. Oh, it's Baird, it's the other cat. You've not seen her before probably. So I'm going to switch this on now. Right, I've just tacked a speaker on there because obviously we've had to unplug the one in the chassis, and I'm going to wait till it warms up. I just want to check how much leakage is on that grid. .2 volts. So that, and that I think is that Hunt's capacitor, which is there. Yeah, so that capacitor's leaking. That Hunt's capacitor, no surprise there. No surprise there. So all these capacitors need to go, all of them, because they are done. Even the ones that they've put in, these Dally ones, they'll probably put in the 70s. They'll be done as well. So this is the, as you can see here, this is the selenium rectifier. And it looks to me like someone's added a diode over there. I'll have to check on the schematic, see if that's on there. But it looks like that's failed and somebody's just tacked that across. But again, without the schematic. This resistor here, the nut's missing off the bottom. That's the big main, so we need to just find a nut for him and a star washer. He's a bit warm, but then he will be soaking up 90 odd volts. Do you know, I'm actually looking at this radio now, really, and there's almost enough room, in fact there is enough room to put a power transformer on this, because if we remove this resistor, we wouldn't need it, because it wouldn't be series filament. We would take all the tubes out and replace them with 6.3 volt filament tubes. Is it doable? Probably. The capacitor, yeah, well that's there, but they could be wired underneath the chassis, so we wouldn't need to have that there. This wouldn't need to be there, would it? Because none of this. We just need some rectification for it. Half wave would do, so one diode in other words. This wouldn't be here, and I don't know whether this would be here. Yeah, because that's on the main switch, I think. Right, yeah. So that must be the voltage selector. So you select the different voltages, maybe. It must be 2 different voltages, but that wouldn't be there either. Wouldn't be that big a job to do it. And then if we just had to rewire the filaments into parallel. Now how many, assuming we did that, and this is just purely theoretical, have I got a transformer that would go on there? Maybe somewhere. We'd have to get the voltages right, and if they're not on the schematic, we'd have to take some readings before we did it. So let's look at the tubes then. UCC85, well I've got ECC85, although that one works fine anyway, but I have got that. UF80, well EF80s, I've got millions of those. ECH81, not sure if there, and there should be. EL84, well that's a no-brainer, plus I've got plenty of Russian tubes that would take the place of that. So 3 of those tubes I've already got without even thinking about it, and I've got the others somewhere, so that would be doable. Now there'll be some people out there, especially if you're into these radios, and more into them than I am, so please take that on board. This is a bit of a fun project for me. It breaks the monotony of forever repairing guitar amplifiers. And like most people in electronics, they've, you know, they have things they work on, and then they've got other things that they have for a hobby or whatever. So this is kind of my side of that, if you like, my hobby. It's something I'm just getting into, so theoretically it could be done. So I'm only doing this for fun. You know, most people would say, oh well, that's not really worth doing, it's just a cheap radio, and it is just a cheap radio. But I suppose if you've got all the parts and you really want to do it, of course the other advantage is this then would be isolated from the mains, which would make it much safer. So the question is, could it be done? Something to think about. Right, so I've had a bit of a think and a test and one or two other bits and bobs that I've done to this radio, and I've come up with to a conclusion of what I'm actually going to do with this radio. So what I'm going to do with this radio, I'm going to fit a transformer onto it, and that transformer, we just move in closer, is going to go there, and it will just fit. It will just fit there. Probably can't see it because my hand's in the way, but yeah. But anyway, it fits on. It's going to fit in this space from this very damaged resistor to here. We don't need that. That's the selenium rectifier, I think. We don't need it anyway. That diode, we don't need it to be there. Then we won't need that resistor. We won't need this, because this is on the power. This is obviously doing the volts dropping for the series filaments. We'll need a new capacitor anyway. This transformer is a Danbury Electronics. Here comes pink. And this dishes out 240 volts at 100 milliamps. Should be enough for this. So 240 volts. So if I times that by 1.414, now one or two other things have fallen into place as well with doing it this way. And I know out there's going to be some people who are into radios, and I do appreciate the fact that, you know, you should be, people will be saying you should be leaving it as original and all the rest of it, but I'm sorry, it's my radio, I've bought it, and that's what I'm going to do with it. So, you know, if that offends some of you radio buffs out there, I'm sorry, but that's the way I look at this radio. If we look around the back of it, we just swing it round and look at the back. So here we've got the if we just hone in with the camera, here we've got the power going in there, so that fits in perfectly. So I've got a ground on the chassis, which it's isolated from the mains, and I've got proper, you know, a proper IEC socket on there, which is just a winner as far as I'm concerned. Now let's get back to the tubes. So obviously all these tubes are available in 6.3 volts. The pinouts are exactly the same. We just have to rewire the filaments. They're in a series chain. We'll just rewire them in parallel. We need two pilot lights. We need to rewire the pilot lights because they are they need to be 6.3. Then I forget what they are in here, but I know they're not 6.3. So we need to do that, but that's fine. That's not a big job, is it? I don't have, out of these U tubes, these series filament tubes, there's 3 of them I don't have in my tube collection, and those come to a total sum of just over £40 if I've got to replace those. If I replace these and the 6.3 filaments, then 2 of them I don't have in my stash, and I may have those if I do more digging, but as a rough look I don't have them, but I may have them. But at the worst I need 2 of those. That's only £20. I've got the transformer anyway, which is I bought for various projects, but I've got the transformer. So for me it makes sense to convert this over to 6.3. Now what I'm also going to do, and this may upset some of you radio buffs again, if it does I'm sorry, but I'm going to put some new speakers in it. So the speaker measures just over 2 ohms, and I have used these in the record players. And these are Mint speakers, these are German Visitons. You've seen these before if you've watched any of my videos, so just look at that. So we've got that there, pink sharpening a claws. So we've got these Visitons, and these are 4 ohms each, and I'm going to put 2 of these in place of that speaker because the cone's not very clever on it. There's 1 or 2 holes in it and things, so I'm going to add a couple of those in there, and that will make this radio sound really good. And the other advantage, of course, of having this with the isolation transformer, wait for it all, I can plug the guitar through the gram switch on here, the pickup, the PU socket on the back, which I can easily change and put a 1/4 inch jack socket on there. Or I can also Bluetooth into this as well from that setting on there. So I've got options there. There's no way on this planet Earth I would plug a guitar into this as it is now. It's series filament. It would be ludicrous. So everything for me points to converting this over, and that's what I'm going to do. And someone else has come and is going to come and investigate it and then give us her opinion of it, and there she is. And now we can't see anything, can we, at all? So it just gives you an idea just how big Pink actually is when you think that she's engulfed that radio completely. And she wants food. That's the treat face. Give me some treats, Dad. So I'm afraid that's what I'm going to have to go off and do next. There we go. Right, so that'll do it for this one. So thanks for watching, and you all take care, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye bye for now.